Hey, Georgie.
So my name's not Georgie.
Okay, I was doing a bit from It Chapter 2 for the show.
Oh, were you?
Tune in to Alternate Ending now.
Welcome to Alternate Ending. We're covering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarasinski.
And I'm the casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarasinski.
And while we have different backgrounds and perspectives on movies, our goal is always the same: to help you navigate the cinema world, to determine if you should spend big bucks on a flick rushing to theaters, wait for it to come out on streaming, or skip it altogether. This week, we're taking a look at It Chapter 2. And if you've had a chance to see it, make sure to leave your thoughts on the movie in the comments below.
It Chapter 2 is the sequel to 2017's It, and brings to life the second half of Stephen King's original novel. At the end of the first movie, after defeating Pennywise, the friends make this unbreakable pact to come back to Derry if trouble returns.
And trouble returns indeed, with 27 years having passed and gruesome murders sprouting up once again in Derry. As for the members of the Losers Club, each has moved on from their time at Derry and have all but forgotten the traumatic events that took place there. All of that changes when Mike, the lone friend who remained in Derry, calls and they're like, damn it.
So, kind of like when you call asking me to pick up the kids when you're supposed to?
The friends feel compelled to return to Derry to face both Pennywise and their respective demons.
Andy Muschietti returns to direct this sequel, and I gotta tell you, this movie has a stacked cast of both adult losers and kid actor counterparts. Jessica Chastain and Sophia Lillis as Beverly Marsh, James McAvoy and Jaden Martell as Bill Denborough, and then I gotta tell you, my MVP of this whole thing, Bill Hader, who shared the role of Richie with Finn Wolfhard.
Well, I remember you loved It, so what did you think of It Chapter 2?
I did really love the first installment. It was so scary and inventive, and I thought Pennywise and all the kids were these like little perfect gems of like perfectness. So I was cautiously optimistic going into the sequel, and I came out feeling, unfortunately, a little bit let down. The highlights for me were, it's really scary, man. It's like really scary and really gross. But I actually happen to like both of those things, so that part actually worked for me. And I saw you were pretty scared too, by the way.
I was scared.
You were. Also, I can't say enough about the cast. The adults were perfect complements to these little tweeners. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but it also has James McAvoy. And the MVP for me, Bill Hader. This movie needed some levity at times. It was a little bit dark, and his brand of humor worked for me perfectly. And then, of course, the lowlights. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, and I don't know if it's a challenge of sort of trying to adapt the literature from the book, but it sort of felt like it was trying to pack way too much in, from each of the kids' origin stories to this little love triangle thing to Mike's experience in an ancient tribe. It felt a little bit all over the place. And then kind of along those same lines, because the movie is trying to do so much, I think the overall message of how fear and hate is this infection on society kind of gets buried amongst sort of a rambling storyline. And here's another thing, and you'll hear this from everybody, it is super long. Like, you'll start wanting it to end long. And 3 straight hours of jump scares, you're finally like, stop it! Like, stop it! At the end of the day, I gave It Chapter 2 2.5 stars. And while I didn't love it, to get the best experience and feeling of terror, it's best in a dark theater amongst strangers who could maybe possibly kill you. So I know I've said a lot, but what did you think about it, Rob?
Well, the first It took the box office by storm, bringing in $700 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing horror movie of all time. As a result, I had high hopes for this installment, given the added star power, making it one of my most anticipated movies of the remainder of 2019. Highlights for me were, first, the grown-up cast. For the most part, that is. Bill Hader, Jessica Chastain, James McAvoy, and James Ransone all embodied their kid counterparts perfectly and brought their acting chops. Second for me was Pennywise. While not as creepy as in the first installment, Bill Skarsgard version of Pennywise will forever haunt my nightmares. Lowlights for me were, first, the runtime. Chapter 1 was already long with a 2-hour 17 runtime, and somehow Chapter 2 felt it needed to add an additional 34 minutes to the story. I don't mind a longer movie, but if it continues to move the story forward, in this case, it just made it stand still. Second, tribal mythology. I'm not sure if That's all true to King's source material, but the tribal mythology didn't sit well with me. I wanted some alternative to the Pennywise origin story. In the end, It Chapter 2 is a solid horror movie, but saddled with too high expectations from me. I give It Chapter 2 3 stars, but still suggest rushing to theaters like you care to see it on the big screen. But make sure you hit the bathroom beforehand and order a small drink.
Or the big drink, depending on what you're getting. Well, we love hearing from everyone, so share your thoughts on It Chapter 2 and subscribe or follow. We have other videos just like this one that we'd love for you to check out.
And be sure to check back regularly to make sure you don't miss out on our movie reviews, trailer reactions, and live shows. If you want more details about all the stuff we're up to, including our weekly movie giveaways, head to our website at alternateending.com. We'll catch you next time.
Tune in to Alternate Ending.